What is happening, everybody, man? Thank you guys tuning into this episode of the Agent to CEO podcast. Got an OG in the house. Will, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, John? Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir, man. Good to see you, and man, excited to really jump in with you. We had been a little bit since we've been able to kind of catch up and knowing the direction and the decisions that you made, and I'm excited to get into a couple of the things prior to getting in the decision, but the decisions you made prior to heading into the new year, probably something that you've been focused on in 25 to build into 26 and into the future. So I'm excited to jump in, but man, give a little backstory, give a little context, maybe even take it back even to kind of the origin of you getting into real estate. I feel like you've made, just a few different decisions and pivots throughout your career. And ultimately, what is that, North Star that you're making the changes to. But I think, hearing the origin story and the backdrop of things as we've kind of got into, present day, I think is really important to understand.
Yeah. So, on the real estate side, I've been in real estate. This is my 15th year in real estate. Previous to that, I sold life insurance, and I had a pretty good business doing it. Medicare supplements, life insurance. I did that for about 6 years and really grew a big business doing it. Door knocking, just doing everything. I was doing everything that I was doing to build my real estate business. I learned and build those skill sets through the insurance business. But honestly, talking about death every single day was just, at some point I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, every day my script was, talking about death. And so, even prior to that, I was selling flooring. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had this sales mindset. I've always had this, I want to go out and make my own money, build my own business. I've always had that mindset since I was young. And so, kind of got burnt out and tired of it. And a buddy of mine was in real estate, said, "Hey, I think you need to transition over to this space. I think you'll be great at it. I'm in it. I can help you." And so I felt comfortable because someone was there that I knew, like, and trusted in this space that I felt like I already had kids at the time. I had a wife, I had kids, I had bills. I mean, so it was a leap of faith to transition into the real estate space, but I betted on myself. I've always betted on myself. And so it's kind of like when you teach your kids how to swim, you get in the pool first and you tell them to jump in. They'll jump in. Why? Because you're in the pool. They know that dad's not going to let them drown. Right.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I had that person in the real estate space that I would jump in feet first, knowing I had kids and bills that wasn't going to let me drown. So I jumped in and man, I just hit the ground running and, been running ever since the past 15 years.
running hard. And so, once you got in, I mean, I feel like, especially if you're in the insurance space, I mean, you're okay with that unknown, right? It's kind of the hunt and kill, not waiting around to be fed. You got to go get it.
Yep.
So, obviously kind of that hustler mentality, but for you, was there a moment to where it shifted to where, I'm in the grind, I'm hustling. Oh, wow. There's a little bit better way. I need to think about this as a real business instead of in the grind and hustling as fast as you can.
I did. That came with age and maturity. Obviously, when I was young in this space, it was just, sell, deposit in my account, just trying to keep the lifestyle or just keep the bills paid, right? Instead of that building a business, it was just keep the bills paid. I would think, I think my last couple of years of my insurance career is really when I actually got with a guy. He's still a mentor of mine till this day. And I transitioned to the big company to a small mom and pop insurance brokerage and got with the owner, and he's been a mentor of mine ever since. His name is Stephen Thornhill, and he started teaching me about the business side of it, which really changed my mindset from a commission-based job to this is my business, right? This is my career. This is my business. This is something that I should be proud of, and start looking at, different ways to grow the business side of it, not just my bank account. And so he really helped me there. And then obviously when I transitioned into real estate, I kind of already had that little bit of mindset. But again, I had another great mentor in real estate when I got into the business with Shane Willard. I first started with Shane. I had another great mentor that helped me with that as well. And really, I just keyed into that mentorship, right? Of like, I knew that there were certain people that were pouring into me, showing me this business side of it. And I had to continue that. And so just aligning myself with great people. And then I met you, aligned myself with you. You helped me a lot. So I would say just me really understanding the business side of it was just like just connecting with mentors, people that were already in that space doing that.
Yeah. And I love your pool analogy. That's so good. When you look at, the mentors, throughout your career, was there a common theme amongst the mentors that kind of really resonated with you?
Yeah, man, I would tell you this. Every mentor that I've associated myself was either in a space that I wanted to be in, or really aligned with my core values in terms of, here's the thing. You are one of the people that I associate myself with because you build businesses around people. You don't just have this certain way of training and this certain way of mentoring, and then and just, hey, this is the way I train. This is my mindset. This is what I do. And if you are in line with that, great. If not, you're probably not going to get anything out of it. The mentors were like, hey, what do you want to do? How do you want to grow? What space do you want to be in? And let's build it around that. Right. And that's what I love, instead of these gurus and these, these trainers that, are training and all that, but they don't really understand you first and then try to build around you. Right. And so I think that common theme was that every person that I've associated myself really took their time to understand me, where I wanted to go, what my big why was, and then try to help me get there around me, not just how they did it or how they think it should be done. Right.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it's really because I think, to your 15-year run point, right? Running more than a decade, on your way to 2 decades. If you don't do it that way, you're just not going to do it. You're just going to give up on it. And it's going to, the who you are, your authenticity, it's just not going to come out. Right. And people pick up on that, and it's going to make it so much more difficult, so much harder to do it. And I think, there has to be, and listen, you got to do what you love. Are there going to be bad days? Of course. But the days when you're in doing the thing you love, and it's built to, support you in basic what your goals are, that goes back to the word sustainability. And that's why, what drew kind of me into being a more of a believer with EXP, especially early on in the early days. It's the same. I mean, you got to experience it. I mean, those early days were rough. They were brutal, right? You got beat up, and then, your agents delay getting money. You had to deal with that. And the one word that really, really stuck out to me was the sustainability. And, we make decisions based upon, what's going to be sustainable. And I think when you build a business around you and your passions and what you love, that is enjoyable, those tough days aren't so tough. And how important that is when you were, kind of building that around, and you've pivoted, you've adjusted quite a bit. I mean, kind of what is that decision process that you kind of go through? It's almost like going into a clothing store, trying on a piece of clothing, and you're like, yeah, it looks good on the rack, but I don't like the way it fits on me. And so let's try something else. What is kind of your philosophy, your approach as you're navigating? And maybe what might help is like, what's the North Star? What are you working towards?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. When I got into real estate, I immediately became obsessed with real estate. And here was one of the big reasons why. When I went to a party or a function, and I was in the insurance business. No one talked to me about insurance. No one wakes up in the morning and thinking, I'm going to buy some insurance today. People actually were walking. I mean, they didn't, because I was an insurance guy, right? When I got into real estate, what's the number one question everyone asks when we go to a function? How is the market? What are interest rates, right? Yeah. I was like, wow, these people want to talk to me because of the industry I'm in. And I found out that people want information, right? Everyone drives by their house or drives to their neighborhood, sees for sale sign, are wondering what that house is listed for. They might even go to Zillow and look it up because it might directly affect their equity, in their home. And they want to know what homes sold. They want to know what their house is worth. Like, people wake up every day. The American dream is to own real estate here. So as soon as I felt that, I immediately was obsessed with this business. I was obsessed with real estate. And so, my goal through this whole process when I started was, again, to establish myself, get commissions coming back in, because that transition was tough, and then start, looking at building a business through real estate. But my goal was, I always had an exit strategy, right? I always had something in mind that I was looking towards. Did I want to show homes every single day for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. That's one thing that I knew, right? So then I changed to, okay, I'm going to dominate sellers. I knew working with buyers got me through the first year and a half. It got me going, but I knew I wanted to work with sellers. Once I started working with sellers, I was like, okay, I like this space, but I was getting buying leads. I was getting buyer leads that I didn't want to work. So found an admin. I got, again, having mentors and people with me helped me build this business. I was at Keller Williams at the time. So, they're all about teams and
team and leverage, everything.
Yeah. Leverage. So I started building this team. I was like, ooh, I like this leverage thing. I like what Gary's putting out about leverage and how to build this. So then I became obsessed with building a team because it provided uber leverage for me, right? I knew I didn't want to show homes for the rest of my life. And I knew I didn't want to be in the grind because I had this business CEO mindset. I wanted to lead. And I've always been like that. So I knew that the team, I became obsessed with leadership when I started building my team. Obsessed with it. Like, I wanted to be the best leader. I want to have the best agents. I want to build the biggest team. And so I became obsessed with that part of it. And so it's been just like you said from the beginning, it's been this continue grind, but I'm always leveling up and moving forward to that ultimate goal, which is got me to EXP, because EXP gives you three things. They give you time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom, right? And then so I bought into that, right? Then I became obsessed with those three things. And I still had a team, but I wanted more above and beyond the team, because the team is still localized, right? It's still localized. And so then I became obsessed with those three things: time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Okay. That's what I became obsessed with. And I wanted to figure out how I can 100% maximize all three of those in my life. And so that's cool. And I'm still on that, right? I mean, I'm still trying to achieve those three things, because I'm not there yet. I'm working towards those three things, but trust me, those three things that EXP provided me in my mind to obsess about and to have something to look forward to, it's still presently right here that I'm working towards those three things.
Yeah. And I think, you nailed the word. And we were talking, we'll get into it, just kind of the size of your company, but the PBD, one of my favorite reels, and I don't know if we put it out at the beginning of this year or is it at the end of last year, but if you get a chance, man, go check it out. I think you could type in, if you just go onto Instagram, and I think you just do PBD or, Patrick Bet David, obsessed. He did a really cool, he was at one of his kids' soccer matches, and immediately he knew, soon as the match started, he immediately knew something was different about the other team. And so, he goes and he starts talking to one of the players' parents, and he's like, "Who are you guys? Why are you guys so different? What do you do?" And just typical inquisitive as PBD is. And he's asking, like, "How long do you practice?" "We don't practice, we train." Right. And just kind of going through the whole thing. And he's like, wow, this is a whole nother level. So he's having the conversation with his kids, and he really breaks it down, right? There's 3 types of people. There's interested, right? There's committed, and then there's the obsessed. And very few, right? It takes on the obsession side of things. But in this industry, man, I really think with anything in general right now, if you're not understanding, what it is to be successful, what it takes, and is that something you're willing to commit to, I don't think you have a chance. This is not for the interested anymore. Right. This industry, I mean, you getting in 10, 11, you went through that headwind. That was not, easy sailing. And then you got to ride through an easy selling market, but now dead on headwind again.
Yep.
And so you're not going to navigate those waters by just being interested. I mean, You've got a bare minimum entry level to be committed. Then there's the very few that are obsessed. When you staying obsessed and continuing to grow, you said one of my favorite words, and you said you just became obsessed with leadership. Mm-hmm. Do you feel, as you've seen, other business owners and agents and things coming in, especially that have a tremendous amount of success, because it's chaos, right? I mean, it's operational chaos is kind of especially where your business is at, right? Revenue wise, where your business is at. Is it typically, what do you see missing most? Is it leadership? Is it operations? Is it accountability? Is it clarity? Like, what do you see that's missing most for agents that reach like $1 million in GCI and beyond? Where do you see the chaos? What's missing usually?
Man, that's a great question. I mean, obviously the easy answer would be all of the above, right? But here's what I see when agents, and this is true, and people are lying if they're not thinking this or have gone through this. When you hit $1 million in GCI, or you made $250,000 in GCI that year, you're gonna get this little swag to you, little like I don't need to make those calls anymore because I just made 250,000 or I made $1 million. So you kind of have this little ego, you get this little small ego, and now all of a sudden you're not doing the activities. This is what I see. You're not doing the activities what got you to, $250,000 in GCI or $500,000 in GCI or $150,000 in GCI, whatever that is, right? You start getting to this point where now you think you're too good to get on the phones from 8:30 to 11:30 and call the expires and call for expire like 4 hours or go back to what got you there. I had a little bit of that, right? I mean, I had to catch myself, and that's why I have great mentors and leaders, because they had to check me like, hey, you're saying that you're not good enough to get back on these phones, but you just said, like you just told me you made $800,000 this year, but you're not willing to go back and do the same things because you've already done that, right? And so I think people look to grow too fast. They look to say, hey, I've made this money. Now I want to hire all these people, or I want to get a buyer's agent. I want to get an admin. I want to do all this, but they're not willing to go back and continue to do the same things that got them there. They're just going to rely on that. I mean, unless you are super disciplined with the leverage, unless you're taking that time that you're paying that buyer's agent to go show the homes, or you're paying your admin, or you're paying that virtual assistant to make those calls. If you're paying a virtual assistant to make those calls and you are doing those calls, which is what got you to that point, and you leverage it to a virtual assistant and you do nothing with that time, are you really leveraging it, right?
Exactly.
Really leveraging it. And what I'm saying, my whole point in that is they'll get to that point and they'll start doing all that, and then they're too good to go back and do that, but they're not filling that time with any productive activities, because them in their mind, they don't have to do it, because all of a sudden they're just leveraging all this out, but they're not doing anything with their time. So now you're not growing, though it's going to fail. Your leverage system is going to fail, right? So I just think that people get there too fast, and they don't want to take the time to really, really, really grow this thing slowly. It's like the whole ladder thing, the visual. I've seen it in your workbooks and things too, of how you get to the top, right? Mm-hmm. And so I just think people get there fast, or if they get there fast, they just stop. They forget what got them there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so too. It's I think that the important part is that they feel that they've got the things in place there and they create the leverage and the things around them, but they don't reallocate that time to other
Right.
dollar producing activities. And I think that's the big miss. But the word and this has been a really good. I'm only four or five chapters in, but this has been a really good a leadership book, and it's all the things we know. But I just love the story. So Dave Burke was a Marine fighter pilot, and he served with Jocko. And when he finally got out and I think retired from the military, he ended up going to work with Jocko at Echelon Front, and where they work with corporations and install leadership and leadership principles. But if you remember how Extreme Ownership was written, which I think is one of the best formats, you tell a story, you distill the principle, and then you apply it to business. Well, he did the same thing. Dave Burke did the same thing. Obviously working with Jocko, right, have the blueprint to be able to go through it, but it's called The Need to Lead, and played off of it because he was a Top Gun instructor. But he also served on the ground with Jocko, and so being a Marine on the ground, but then he was also a Top Gun instructor and one of the best fighter pilots, and trained in the F-16 and the F-18. And it's just really good going listen to the story. Chapter 1 is there are no business problems. There's only leadership problems, which I think you and I both subscribe to that. But the second chapter, he said the number one word in leadership is humility. And listening to you kind of talk about the complacency that agents get into, they get kind of that ego kind of in place. And he gives a really, really good story. I mean, I highly recommend the book. And like I said, I'm actually still on chapter 4. So it's really, really good. But as I was listening to you kind of share, that just made me think of that, of what Dave was talking about. I was like, because somebody's going to check you. And he gives a great story, what happened at Top Gun school, where, he thought he was the best and he got checked. And so I think it's just really good, to your point, to have those great mentors out there that will, kind of check you and put you in place, I think is really important.
Absolutely. And great leaders should have those people who are not scared to check you, like those mentors, those coaches, those leaders. You don't want yes men as mentors, right? You don't want someone that just always agrees with you just because, they want you to keep spending money with them or whatever, because you're always agreeing with them. And you know what I mean? I want someone to check me. I want someone to tell me when, like if I need to get better on failing here, or I've said something, or I'm going in a direction that, is probably not the right direction or the best direction, or there's shit that I want to be checked. Hey, what you're doing is probably not the best approach. You probably should look at this, something like that. Right.
Yeah.
And then helping put something together for that direction, because that's how I am. That's how I receive. Like, I don't mind being checked, but I don't want you to check me. And then that's it. Check me and then let's help me put together a plan for whatever direction you feel like, we should be like where I should be going. Right. So it's like check with the plan,
Yeah. No, I agree. It is. And I think, giving that mentor that permission to, hold you accountable. Yeah. And I think if you have that, then that allows you to learn, because, you're jumping into the pool, but it also, you get to model that behavior within your organization. And, for you, I think it's important to think through the decisions, right? Like what you were obsessed with building, and really looking at kind of where you're at. Can you kind of talk through here on the decision filter? And I had the opportunity, I was working with you during this time as you were making the transition. You're leaving, mentors, going into a company that's changed your, time freedom, money freedom. And you're like, I feel like I'm capable of more, right? And you made the decision to, your own brokerage, your own company. I think we talked through pros, cons, and kind of what was your decision-making process? That's what I'm always more curious about, not the decision, but how you came about making the decision. What was the process for that decision? And talk through a little bit like that, because, a lot of people would be like, dude's crazy. Like, why would you even want to do that? Like, what's going on here? But you had a process that you worked through to be able to make that decision.
Yeah. It was not an easy decision. I absolutely love the position that I was in at that time. I was at EXP. I had a pretty good downline. I was looked in my downline as kind of that mentor, that leader. And so it was a tough decision, but a lot of it had to do with, not a lot of it, but some of it had to do with some localized stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but some localized stuff and some hangups and some tension with me and the company, on the local level. But here's what I'll tell you. My growth path was getting to a point to where I had accomplished a lot, right? I had accomplished, at one time I was in the top 50 in the entire United States in production at one time in my career, right? And so I grew and led a really, really great production, like production team. I went to EXP and grew a really big downline and still have production and was still doing these things. But then that time freedom, location freedom, money freedom came in, and EXP does allow you to do that with their downlines and that whole model. But I wanted to scale more in the real estate. I wanted to get into another avenue of real estate. I wanted to get in more of the investing side. I wanted to get in some more in some development side. I wanted to get into that space, and the people that I was aligning myself with at that time and growing with on that space, they were more independent. They were the independent companies because they're a little bit more lenient on some of the stuff that on the investment space. And so I think it was an alignment thing with me. I think that I wanted to align myself with people that were doing things that in a space where I wanted to be. And where I was at the time, I knew I was having some challenges there. And so I decided to create my own culture, to create my own identity, to be able to do real estate. Not however I wanted to do real estate, obviously within the letter of the laws and things like that.
Sure.
I wanted to create my own space. There was a space in in my market, in Oklahoma City market, that was untapped, and it was an untapped space for investors with license, people who had investor entrepreneurial mindsets that had license. There was not really a true home for these people, and I was aligning myself. I was networking with them. We were doing business and deals together, and so I just felt like I wanted to create that space. I wanted to create a space. I wanted to be a leader in that space. I wanted to do something in our market that I felt we needed. And so that was really the overall decision there. But I wanted to continue to be a leader, right? I continue wanting to lead and grow people, but at the same time, grow this section of my business that I was wanting and needing to grow, which is the investment side of it. So that really ultimately led to my decision, which is to kind of create that environment and culture and space that was needed. I felt like it in our market.
Yeah, I mean, especially OKC, one of the safest growth markets in the U.S. So you just saw an opportunity, and you down the path that aligned with you, that was important to you. And you talked about culture. What have you seen, with the company as you started it and really built it? I think you nailed the brand. The brand is just spot on. It looks, the feel, you nailed that. But the real culture that you've created, what does that actually look like?
Yeah. So, it's entrepreneurship first. It's not that commission first mindset. It's a business building mindset. Black Label, we're here to build businesses. We're not here just to collect commission checks. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But we're here, if you don't have a mindset of obsessive growth in your business, then there's other companies for you. But if this culture is all about obsessive growth, And here's the reality, and I'm super transparent with this. And so, but we're hybrid agents. I mean, my culture is a hybrid agent. It's agents both conducting a traditional and non-traditional transactions. People who are in the traditional and non-traditional space of real estate. I want to merge those two worlds together. We all know there's a big line, and you have your on market and your off market, right? And there's a big line between on market agents and off market activities, real estate. I merge those roles together, and we don't have a line. We just build businesses through real estate, whether you're doing traditional and non-traditional methods, as long as we're doing everything within the real estate guidelines, and within our commission guidelines. There is no line in our business. There is no line in my company. We are hybrid agents. We're both. I just did a training today on fix and flips, buy and holds, BRRRR methods, all of that, right? I mean, I'm teaching agents how to go find private money and connecting with my private money lenders and how to buy themselves and how to find, flip money and we're teaching this, we're coaching this, how to go buy real estate yourself. I don't care if you have bad credit or you don't have much money, but if you have a mindset and you have an obsession to go do it, I'll help you and give you my connections, and we'll do it together. But we're coaching and teaching our agents that at a high level. The room was full today on teaching fix and flip and how to find money and how to do the BRRRR method and how to, buy, rehab, refinance. That's the culture that we have. That's what we're building. And oh, by the way, by doing these methods, we're still knocking down traditional listings. We're still helping buyers and, buy homes. I still have luxury agents doing, luxury like real estate. I have them all. Right. If you guys if someone goes to my website right now and looks at my agent roster, it'll be a multicultural brokerage. You will see Hispanics, you will see African Americans, you'll see, whites, you'll see Asians, you'll see them all. Right. Because I'm multiracial myself, but that's just the culture there's people that come to me, just to be honest with you, and say, hey, I'm coming to you because I feel comfortable here. Because there's people that look like me, whether they're brown skin or black skin or whatever. They look like me, and I feel comfortable here, right? And so that's the space that I'll create. That's the culture that we create, right? Is we're just entrepreneur business building, and we're just doing real estate, right? We're building real estate businesses.
One of the things that I see in everything that you said right there that I hope more people can grab a hold of. And it's one of the things, my core belief, the only reason as a team leader that you have a team, I don't care if you're a 5-person team, a 12-person team, an 85-person, teamridge, brokerage, whatever kind of that looks like. If you're not utilizing your business, which is a vehicle to unlock wealth building opportunities, what are you doing? Like, really, truly think about that. What are you absolutely doing if you're not using that to build wealth? Because the reality is 99.99% of people that build teams, build these companies, they actually don't build something that they can sell. Right. There's the exceptions, but for the most part, it's not something that you can really sit back and think, man, I'm building this to be able to escape. I'm going to be able to sell this one day to where I can retire. That's just the reality of that is just, it's not true. Mm-hmm. So if you're not thinking about it to build it, and so when I'm hearing you describe the culture and who you're for, who you're not for, you're really helping people that have that. I want to be able to have true freedom of time, of space, of money. And I want to do it through real estate, which I also believe is the best vehicle to do that. And being able to unlock opportunities that most people are never privy to. And you're creating a culture and an organization of people that want to help each other get to that financial freedom.
100%. 100%. And that's what we're doing every single day. We are doing business building activities, and I'm helping people scale through real estate. I mean, there's people that have been with me for a year, and I had a guy, I think he's bought 6 homes this year himself. He's never owned a piece of real estate before. He's been a realtor for 5 years before he came over here. Now he owns 5 houses by just plugging into this culture, plugging the people that say, yes, you can. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have the perfect. You don't have to have 20% down. You don't have to do all them. And the guy's mind's blown. Like, all I've been known is I have to have 20% down to go buy an investment house. Like, well, no, that's not true, right?
Yeah.
And I've got to have all this money to flip a house. I don't have all this rehab money. Well, you don't have to. Yeah, you do have to have some money. But I guess what I'm saying is we're just changing people's mindsets in terms of, if you want to scale through real estate, but you also want to be in real estate and still do real estate, this is a place you can feel safe in and do all of that.
Yeah, 100%. It's like you said, we have the culture to build it around what you want to accomplish. Like, hey, if you want to go out and just crank, 50 houses a year, we got you. We'll support you on that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really unique, and being able to, provide that structure to be able to pour in, but it also is probably really fulfilling for you as well.
It is. I will tell you, man, a lot of people say this as a cliche, but it's true. And you know me, it's true. Like, the reason that I obsess about the leadership part of this business is I love seeing my people win. Like, I love seeing my people win. And so I have an agent that's doing really, really well. He's like, hey, man, what was your best sales month? Hey, what was your best sales career? Hey, what was the highest price you've ever sold? What was your highest GCI? Because they're looking at me like, hey, he's like, because I want to beat that. I'm like, please do. Let me show you. Beat me.
Yeah.
Here it is. But, I got people like that, right? Like, just looking at me like saying, hey, what was this? Because now they have something like, okay, if I beat you, then, I beat Mahan this month in his top sales or whatever, right? So I got people like that. It's fun, man. We have a lot of fun. And so, but it's good. It's good to have like-minded people around you, though, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's why I did it.
It's so contagious. I mean, it really isn't it. It becomes the fuel, right? Like you said, to continue to the drive. Obviously the good days are better than the hard days, but the hard days are there. And,
Sure.
If you got the people around you that are pushing you, they're going to pick you up. They're going to push you on the days that you don't want to, to push forward anymore. So I think, to me, that's the importance of the culture and creating that success, because, that success breeds success into other individuals. Well, one of the last, two things, and as we wrap up, one, man, I think one was the coolest things, and I always share it because it happened with you at KT. We were going through the kind of what you're the best in the world at and what you're exceptionally good at, and you were going through there, and you're like, man, I'll go head to head with anybody on the listing side, and I am with extreme confidence that I'm going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, but bro, like, I have no passion. Like, it gives me no energy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was like, okay, well, what does give you energy? And you're going, sitting down face to face, talking to an agent about why they should join my company.
Yeah.
And how I can just, at my core, I know I can help them accomplish whatever they want to accomplish.
Yep.
I think at that moment, man, I think you knew, the direction to go. And there's great vehicles out there. You were in a great vehicle. However, I think it truly didn't allow you to really unlock all of the people that you wanted to be able to help.
Correct.
That provided a unique opportunity in your market. And I think that was really cool to kind of go through that. Are you having those conversations with your agents as well, man? Does it energize you? Does it not energize you? Are you helping them kind of get in the best lane and really allocating their time the best way?
Yeah, man, I'm having so much fun doing that because, again, the great thing about me is I get to choose who joins my organization. Even at EXP, when I had a downline, I still didn't have a choice. If someone wanted to join EXP under someone else and they were kind of in my downline, I still had no choice, right? Now I have a choice. And so I say no more than I say yes, because I have to protect the brand and the culture and what we're doing. But to answer your question, yeah. So we have a team meeting every Tuesday about a different topic every single week, right? So that's our big meeting. And then I have multiple breakouts throughout the week. So I have a breakout about this or a breakout about that, and like little 10 people breakouts throughout the
Sure.
week about certain things. And those little breakouts that I allot spaces to, those spaces are full every single time. And then, I provide 3, one-on-one slots every single week for me. Every single week they can go on my calendar and do a one-on-one slot, about them. And I take a lot from what I learned from you and other mentors of, we sit down and I ask the questions, how do you want to build your business? Do you want to sit and make 100 calls every single week? No, great. What do you want to do? Do you want to do social media? Oh, great. I love social media. Great. Well, we need a call to action. We need to do this. We need to do that. We can build a business around social media, but we have to have call to actions. We have to do certain things. You got to be disciplined. We have to have a system, right? Or you want to just call expired listings every single week for sub owners? Cool. I can help you. Let's put the plan, around that. So I guess what I'm saying is I have a big one, and then we have mini breakouts, and then we have, one-on-ones. I have all of that built into my company that agents can tap into that helps them kind of identify where they want to build their business. Because I got people that come to these little small breakouts and they're like, you know what? Great information, but I don't know that I want to go that direction. I don't know if I really want to do that, or I can really commit to that, right? And so, great. What do you want to commit to? And I think that's where the one-on-ones come in a lot too. Is and I ask them, and I'll hold them accountable. I got some other leadership within the company that that are there for accountability partners. That if they need it and they want it, then I assign that person this accountability partner, and so I have a lot of that in place, and it's really helping the growth with this brokerage and transactions and agents, and we're just having a lot of fun doing it. So
that's really cool. That's really cool. I think too, one of the really important things that I believe, and you do as well, is that you can increase agent productivity, and sometimes less than more. And, for you with your model, sometimes it's hard to make the cuts it's kind of like being a gardener, right? And your job as the gardener is to sometimes prune up the things in your garden that are growing a little bit taller and not allowing the sunshine through to the plants down below that are trying to grow themselves.
Yeah.
And so, when you look at you cutting, from a substantial size company and, 25%, 30% reduction in agents, that's really hard for a lot of people to make that decision. And so you had the courage to make that decision because you knew you needed to make room for those that are truly showing up to be able to thrive. But being able to see that, and you're starting to see them perform at a higher level, what do you think, what do you see as the leader amongst leaders within your organization? What do those high performing agents on your team, whatever high performance for them in their goals, right? What did they do consistently that the average agents that you had to prune don't do? Listen,
show up. I mean, there's no other word other than show up. Consistently, right? Show up consistent. Those are the two words if you put them together, right? Showing up consistently. I will tell you this, the top people in my brokerage, the top agents, we do every single month, I do a top-down report and I put it out there. There's some brokerages that they're scared their agents down here will get mad, but I put our agent production out every single month. If you look at my top 25 agents, I see them every single week. They were in the room today. We do trainings every Tuesday. Like they're in the breakouts or scheduled one-on-ones. My top 25 to 30 people are there. I see them all the time. My top 50, I have 50 people that I see consistently, right? And then obviously it kind of phases off from there. But my top 25 are there for a reason. I see them consistently. They show up. They're committed. They have their notepad out and their pen. I got a guy that came to the fix and flip thing, and he does fix and flips at an extremely high level, probably my top fix and flip guy. And he's sitting in there with a pen and paper as I'm talking.
Always taking notes. Yep.
Shows up, right? Yep. And so I had, like to your point, I made the decision to cut about 25, 30% of my brokerage because I came to a realization as, well, let's start here. I have a flat fee brokerage, right? I don't take percentage. So in my mind, when I grew this brokerage,
that's what I mean. That's why, like, I think understanding what your model is, that's a real hard decision to say 30% of you guys got to go.
Yeah. Because in my mind, it was, I need bodies, I need transactions to grow financially. And then I got to a point where I said, okay, I started catching on to the people showing up every single day in my top agents, and I'm tracking it now. And I'm, KPIs on my own brokerage and things like that. And I thought, okay, I'm onto something here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to change my mindset as a leader. We're always changing as leaders, right? And so I thought, I walked into the meeting one day. It was the very first meeting of this year, 2025 in January. I said, I promise you, from here on out, you will see the best of me, because I'm going to help you grow. The people in this room, I'm going to help you grow. No longer am I looking to grow any more agents. I'm actually going to reduce this brokerage. So if you guys see people leaving this brokerage, it's because it's for a reason. And I have to let everybody know, I'm probably going to be reducing agents in the next couple of months, and I'm going to be focused on you guys. I'm going to help you guys. And I actually got I got applause after my speech and after I got done with it, because these people knew that I was serious and I was passionate, and they knew that I was telling the truth. They believed that I was telling them the truth in terms of, I'm going to help you guys grow. And we doubled our transactions this year from last year with less people.
Yeah. It goes to show you right there. It goes to show you those that show up and believe in what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, they're just going to be happier. They're going to produce more. It is. So I love what we've done. If you're talking, if you could give, as we wrap up here, if you could give that one piece of advice to those team leads, those that have a team that are trying to grow and scale their team heading into, this last half of the decade, what's that one piece of advice that you would give to them?
Yeah, just show up for your people. Show up with energy. Show up with confidence. Show up with passion. They see that in us leaders. They see that. So show up with passion, with energy. And if you're going to leverage out, really take the time to fill that time with either self-growth or growth with your team. Don't just scale and leverage out, and all of a sudden you're not doing anything with that time. Take that time to pour back into yourself and your agents and your people, because they're going to take that and they'll run through a brick wall for you if you show them,
It's good, man. Brother, I appreciate you jumping in here, and I'm proud of you for what you've done and being able to accomplish. And I know being able to work together a couple different times, and kind of where you were at in one part of the journey, and then the transition into this part of the journey. And just know, man, I'm proud of you, and I know you're gonna keep impacting a ton of lives there throughout OKC and beyond.
Yep, I appreciate it, John. Thanks for
having me,
brother.
Awesome, guys. We'll see you.